Hey guys, well, we're back on Sunday because once again I had to work on Saturday. Sorry about that, it's, real life stuff. Anywho, we're doing this a little bit earlier than we usually do because I am doing another episode of the Heelcast tonight. And so I want to keep this one on the short side because I want to save my voice. And usually end up having problems with my voice if these things go too long. So let's just get into the Impact review, and I suspect some people are going to want to ask about CM Punk and what I think about the company possibly being sold and blah blah blah. So let's get to the nitty gritty and then call it a day. I always say I want to keep these things short, and I always end up going long. I don't know how that happens. Anywho, Impact Wrestling from September the 15th. I think that's right. I'm always getting dates wrong. Hang on. Yeah, the 15th. That's right. All right, here we go. So our show begins with Bobby Lashley, who continues to be awesome, by the way. Talking about how he destroyed EC3 last week, and how there's no main event of Bound for Glory, and nobody can beat him, and yada yada. So naturally, this brings out Grado. Now I will grant him this much. Grado is more tolerable when he's used like this, and specifically when he's not embarrassing Eli Drake. Yeah, that dials back Grado to a level where I don't want to strangle him with my bare hands, But when he comes out like this, he pops the crowd, he gets a few laughs, and then Lashley just obliterates him for heat. See, this is how Grado should be used. So that's fine. Yeah, so Lashley just destroys Grado, much to Raven Effect's dismay. And then Moose comes out. And for the first time since he won the title, it looks like Lashley is actually ducking somebody a little bit. That's interesting. But the story seems a little weird here. I thought Lashley and Moose were on the same page now after Lashley got him to turn on Mike Bennett. But now, all of a sudden, Moose is really pissed at Lashley again. It feels like I missed something here. It's a perfectly good segment. I just couldn't shake the feeling that the writers skipped a step or something. Then at the end of the night, we see Moose and Lashley again, because Lashley don't play that chicken shit card for anybody, and we get an actual fight this time, and it's really cool. However, I did feel as if they were running the risk of undercutting the Lashley EC3 main event by pushing Moose a little too aggressively. And I think that may become an issue. After this week, it feels like Lashley Moose has more heat behind it than Moose, Mike Bennett, or Lashley EC3, who shows up at the end here to remind people that it's still Lashley EC3 that we're getting at Bound for Glory. And the writers may not have seen that one coming. But it kind of seems like that's what's happening a little bit, which could affect how Bound for Glory is received in a few weeks. So, I hope they've accounted for that, but one of the drawbacks of this taping schedule is that you can't really get feedback until after you've taped a whole bunch of TV, and if you need to change certain things, well, you can't. So, fingers crossed on that. Next, we got this empty arena match thing. Now, I was actually pretty interested to see Rockstar Spud and Braxton Sutter in this empty arena match, because this is one of the few gimmick match horses in wrestling that TNA hasn't beaten to death several times over the years. So there's still some novelty to the idea, right? Now, they've been hit and miss when they've done them in the past, admittedly. Sting and Angle was pretty dumb when they did that, but Motor City Gen Me was fantastic. I think this one was somewhere in between. Sting and Angle's here, Motor City Gen Me is here. I'd put this one like here somewhere, you know. Thankfully, it didn't have the unintentional comedy of the guys doing their full entrances with music and pyro and everything like Sting and Angle did, which was asinine. But why were the announcers talking over this? Why were they announcing this like a normal match? Why? That's part of what makes it different. There's supposed to be no commentary during the empty arena matches. Also, it lacked the different production details that made Motor City Jinmi so damn good. I believe they kind of darkened the arena for that one, and they had a different style of camera work that made it feel like more intimate and really just gritty and in your face and edgy and stuff. And that's one of the big things that made that one so so compelling. And they didn't have it in this one. They just filmed it like a regular match. What's more, they really didn't do anything that they couldn't have done in a regular match either. I mean, if you're going to do an empty arena match, do something that you could only do in an empty arena. And I'm not saying these guys did a bad job. They worked hard. They did their jobs well enough. But this might as well have just been a normal street fight, really. Which begs the question, why not just do a street fight? Did TNA finally feel like they'd done enough street fights? Because they had to reach that point eventually. The match itself I enjoyed, but this empty arena match didn't seem to have anything in it that couldn't have been done in an arena full of people. Kudos for showing the blood, though. A little blood can go a long way sometimes. I'm liking the feud well enough. It just, it kind of felt like, they didn't really think this one through all the way. Moving on to week 2 of the TNA Grand Championship Tournament. And I think the jury is still out on whether or not this 3-minute rounds thing is going to fly. I don't know if they've really figured it out yet. Eddie Edwards, Mahabali Shera did nothing for me. Aaron Rex, Trevor Lee was nice. Although I would advise Aaron Rex to maybe get some different ring gear because the tidy whiteys kind of make him look like he's wearing a diaper. Just saying. But where this thing is not clicking for me yet is the matches themselves. They can't go longer than 9 minutes, and we're interrupting them every 3 minutes for almost no reason, it feels like, because the breaks in between the rounds are only like 10 seconds long. The action breaks, they say what the scorecard is, and then the action just starts up again. Like almost immediately. So you're constantly killing the momentum of the match just so you can restart it directly afterward. I feel like there might be an idea buried in there that's worth pursuing, but I don't think the execution is there yet. I think some tweaks are definitely needed. And did I just lose the damn stream here? There we go. Now, moving on to the bigger stuff. After several vignettes of broken Matt Hardy healing Brother Nero in the lake like he's baptizing baby Jesus or something, bringing Vanguard 1 back to life with magic. That was actually pretty funny, by the way. Hashtag Vanguard 1 lives. Yay. And rescuing Senor Benjamin from a decrepit erection, which, by the way, is what the ladies always call it. Anyway, the Hardys are back in the Impact Zone. Sorry, the Zone of Impact. To hype this feud with the Decay, which, after all this attention it's gotten, what with the final deletion and deleted Decay, is starting to feel like the real main event of Bound for Glory, actually. I really like... Sorry. I really like what the Decay have started doing in these segments, where they come out of the crowd from different areas and surround their opponents like a pack of wolves. Like you see Rosemary over here, and Crazy Steve is over here, and then Abyss comes out through the entrance, and then suddenly they're all over the place. It's a small detail, You wouldn't think it would be that big a deal, but it feels very fitting for these characters, and I hope they keep doing it. Damn it. Also good is that they seem to have finally defined who the faces are and who the heels are in this feud. The Decay are the antagonists here, so they're the de facto heels. Fuck. Sorry. And, this broken Matt Hardy stuff has taken on such a life of its own that there's no way people were going to boo the Hardys. So they're the faces. That said, even as a face, Rebby still comes off as a very unlikable person. There's no way in hell I'm going to be supporting her over Rosemary, I'll tell you that. But yeah, really good stuff here. The one thing that bothered me was Jeff being back just 1 week after taking Janice in the gut. Janice has... It's really become this running joke of being this horrifying murder weapon that no one can ever get hit by, because if you get hit by it, by all rights, your guts should be spilling out onto the floor. In Delete or Decay, we finally see someone get hit with that damn thing, and it looks like they're actually selling it, and now he's back 1 week later totally fine. I don't like that at all. I mean, yes, this feud seems to exist in some wacky universe where Matt can heal a broken robot drone by praying to the Seven, even though the Lord of Light is the one that handles resurrections, Matt. Do your homework on Game of Thrones, dude. So suspension of disbelief is kind of getting left at the door here. I understand that, but to have the first time in ages that someone actually gets hit with Janice get written off like this in such a bizarre and campy and fantastical manner, it just really irritated me. I mean, I don't like something that serious being taken so casually, I mean, sell that shit or don't do it. That's my motto when it comes to Janice. Otherwise, great segment here. I'm digging this feud, and I'm very much looking forward to the Great War at Bound for Glory, which I'm assuming is Final Deletion Part 3. Dave Lagana did say there was a Part 3 of this thing coming. This is going to make for one hell of an entertaining DVD set, that's for damn sure. And now it is time for the Knockouts, and stop me if you've heard this one. This week, the Knockout division was all about Gail Kim, despite the crowd's efforts to make it otherwise. Rather than have it be done around Bound for Glory time like it usually is, Maria decides to personally induct Gail Kim into the Hall of Fame. But beforehand, she has to silence all those alley chants in the crowd in order to focus on a feud that I'm finding far less interesting at this point. Granted, the highlight reel video of her beating up Gail Kim was kind of funny, but we're back to focusing on Gail, and that's where I kind of check out. Then we've got Dixie coming out to overrule Maria's decision, and she puts Gail in this #1 contenders match because Gail hasn't had enough title shots, apparently, and you can guess the rest. I will say that Maria is doing a fabulous job with her promos. What a revelation this woman is. I mean, she has blown away any expectations I might have had when she came in. I'm still not looking forward to her wrestling, but as a character, she's been pure gold. And it kind of baffles me that WWE made such poor use of her when she was there. I mean, she was the pretty girl with the dumb, the stupid gimmick, the girl who was in Playboy, and that's kind of what she was famous for. And then I'm not really familiar with what she did in ROH, but I think she was mainly just there to look nice and be eye candy and stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. Like I said, I'm not really watching ROH right now, and I wasn't really paying much attention when she was in there. But then she comes to TNA, and suddenly they start booking her to her strengths, and suddenly she's fantastic. It's ridiculous. She has single-handedly turned Allie into the most over babyface on the Knockout roster just with her mic work. I mean, yeah, I mean, Allie plays a part in that too, but we really got to credit Maria with for a lot of this. The funny thing is, the timing of it could not have worked out any worse for Gail, because now it seems like the fans want to see Allie versus Maria instead of Gail versus Maria. The problem is that's not what they're going to get. So we come to our knockouts match, which I have I have a few things to say about this one. I know, shocking, right? Whatever. We get this gauntlet battle royal for a title shot against Maria at Bound for Glory, right? And despite a huge surge of fan support for Allie in the last few weeks, let's not kid ourselves. Gail was going over here, and it was really just a formality. Even though, all things considered, maybe it shouldn't have been. Like I said, these are things that the writers can't account for when they're taping so much TV in one big block. Wow, there were a lot of things wrong with this. First of all, Allie is one of the first two knockouts to enter, but Maria takes her out. And I'm pretty sure that was the moment when the crowd completely gave up on this match for reasons I'll get into in just a minute. So Maria takes Allie out of the match and puts the debuting Laurel Van Ness in her place. So apparently, even though Maria is no longer the leader of the knockouts, she still has the power to book knockouts in matches for some reason. How? Can you explain this, TNA? I'm very confused here. But anyway, Laurel Van Ness. That's Chelsea Green. I'm not crazy about the name, to be honest. Laurel is okay, but I don't like Van Ness. It sounds made up, and TNA personnel can't seem to agree on how to spell it for some reason. Also, I don't think this was an effective showcase for her. You know, her debut match as a member of the roster, and you throw her in the middle of this big group with like 7, 8 other girls in a match that's not even about her, really. You know, they did at least connect her to the Maria Allie thing. So there's a storyline there and have her last until the final 3, but it felt like her debut just got kind of swallowed up by everything else that was going on. You know, then there's the match itself, which I did not think was very good. It felt messy and cluttered. There was this really awkward and poorly timed sequence where all the girls were on the ropes and they just seemed to be, you know, taking turns walking into the middle of the ring so somebody could approach them and hit their finisher on them. It didn't look good. Now, you see this type of thing a lot in the multi-diva matches in WWE, but, you know, there, like, the pacing is sped up, and they've got the timing right, because a lot of those matches go that way. But here, it didn't come off well. And something that dawned on me while I was watching this, TNA seriously need to cool it with the Gail Kim push and focus on getting these other girls over, because unless I'm remembering wrong, the crowd barely made a peep for any of their entrances. Now, excuse me. Now, I know it's the Impact Zone, and it's hard to get a reaction out of these people at the best of times, but it was rough in there. I mean, it's entrance after entrance, and there's like no reaction from the crowd. And you know, the writers really need to give these girls some attention and start trying to get their characters over, because this entire knockout roster has been fodder for Gail for quite a while now, which inevitably leads to the fans not caring about any of them. You know, ironically, there was only one knockout the fans actually seemed to give a shit about in this whole segment, and she was the only knockout who was not in the match. You know, the only time the crowd was making any noise at all, we want Allie, Allie's better, even when it's down to the final 2 and Gail Kim is this close to finally getting that shot at Maria after months of build-up, the crowd doesn't even care because they're too busy chanting, we want Allie, Allie's better. They couldn't be bothered with anyone in the match. The only girl they wanted to see was standing outside the ring. Then Gail wins, meaning that she gets the shot at Maria at Bound for Glory, a rivalry that's been hyped up for ages now, and it goes over with a resounding meh. And that's pretty much exactly how I felt. I'll call him back. Sorry, I got the phone here. Hang on. I'm busy. I will call... Hold on. I'm busy. I'll call you back in a few minutes. It went fine. I'm busy. I'm doing something. I will call you back in a few minutes. Christ. Sorry. You know, so yeah, just lost my fucking train of thought. Um, so yeah, um, so Gale winning, it doesn't go over well. It doesn't seem like the fans especially care about it, and that's really the same boat I'm in. Uh, this was not surprising, but it was disappointing. Gale versus Maria is not a feud that needs the title. It never did. Gale does not need to win the title again, and I've said this a number of times now, but I'll say it again. In my opinion, there was a much more compelling story in Gale not winning the title again. To have Maria succeed in making it so Gale can never win the title again, and have Gale's pursuit of Maria be about revenge rather than glorifying a woman who has never not been glorified by this company. It just felt like there was a lot more heat in that scenario. Plus, it would also free up the championship and leave something for the other knockouts to fight over. The problem is, as long as Gale is there, it's never going to be about the other knockouts. It's always going to be Gale first and everyone else a distant second. It really makes you wonder what their plan is for after Gale retires and they're left with a roster full of new girls who aren't over and no credible veterans left to put them over. What are they going to do then? They got to take advantage of Gale in that capacity while they still have her. Sadly, it just doesn't seem like Gale is interested in putting a lot of people over. I repeat, TNA. It's way past time that you eased off on the Gale Kim push and shifted your focus to getting over the other girls who are going to have to carry this division after Gale retires. You tried this with Allie for the last few weeks, and by God, it's working better than I could have hoped. But the other knockouts need attention too, and it's becoming a matter of great necessity and importance that you give it to them. Mixed bag of a show this week. I got a kick out of the Hardy's Decay stuff, but none of the matches really excited me. Moose Lashley wasn't really a match, it was just a fight. And there seem to be some character dynamics that are getting in the way of what the writers are booking towards. Reference Moose, reference Allie. Some course correction may be needed there, but I don't know if we're going to get it, at least not in time for Bound for Glory. Plus, after winning the X Division title in a great Ultimate X match, DJZ, the new X Division champion, nowhere to be seen 2 weeks in a row. So, yeah, it's business as usual with the X Division, unfortunately. So, let's get to questions in the chat room because I gotta rest my voice before we do this podcast tonight. Okay. Let's see. You can tell Laurel's nerves got the best of her. It wasn't a bad debut, but very underwhelming. I don't know. She looked she looked relaxed to me. I don't. I agree. It wasn't the most impactful debut, no pun intended. But I don't really think that was her fault. Like I said, the match was not a good showcase for her. The match wasn't about her. It was about Gale, and ended up also being about Allie. Even though I don't know if that's what the writers were going for. But yeah, when you try to do too much in a match like that, you're not going to be able to focus on any one person. And it being her debut match, you kind of want the focus to be on the debuting new talent, but it really wasn't. You had the little storyline with Allie, she replaces her and then gets accidentally eliminated by her, but other than that, she's just another face in the crowd. And it's really hard to stand out in that capacity. Maybe if the match had been longer, they would have had the time to showcase her more effectively, but it wasn't. Lashley EC3's brawl had more of an empty arena feel than this match. Yeah, kind of. Even though it wasn't really an empty arena brawl, because there were people there. But yeah, I felt like that was a little more brutal. Um, Again, I'm not trying to shit on Spud and Braxton Sutter, but it's just it was like a regular street fight. It's like I want to see them do something out of the ordinary when they do a match like that. And I don't feel like that's what was done. So I'm wondering like why even do it? You know, strange. Decay versus Broken Hardys is getting more and more entertaining. I'm also interested in seeing what Rebby and Rosemary is going to do. Uh, Assuming Rebby and Rosemary have a match, I'm not really expecting a whole lot. As far as I know, Rebby has not wrestled since she had the baby, so I think that's like over 2 years, factoring in the pregnancy and whatnot. And she looks like she's still carrying around some of that baby weight. So we know that she's going to be rusty, and she hasn't gotten back in ring shape yet. So I wouldn't expect a whole lot. You know, Rosemary is so damn charismatic. She can make something good out of anything. But I wouldn't expect a classic match from those two, just because you know Rebby is probably not in a position to have one. Um, let's see. Uh, I really like the grand matches. They're a highlight for me because it's different than anything else in wrestling. It is. I think the idea needs to be refined. Like I said, I feel like there's a good idea in there somewhere. I just I can't get a clear picture on it yet. Um, I think yeah. Okay, obviously they're aping the combat sport, the MMA combat sports type of thing. All right, well, uh, something's getting lost in the translation, and I'm not sure what. It's just they need to work on the idea, and I'm not sure what needs to be changed exactly, but you know, we'll see. Allie is great, but I don't want to see her help Gail win. That would be vomit-inducing. Well, I suspect that's where we're headed, because they're going to have Allie involved in that match at Bound for Glory somehow. Because with the way the story is playing out, that's just the logical way to go. The problem is, if Allie is out there, I think that's what's going to be what's capturing most of the crowd's attention. I think they're going to be, you know, focused on Allie and less focused on what Maria and Gail are doing. If this match was any indication, you had almost the whole knockout roster in there, and Allie was the only one the fans cared about. I mean, you have Maria standing there, you have Gail in the ring, and no, they're just chanting, "We want Allie, we want Allie." So, is it going to be like that at Bound for Glory? I believe so. So I think that's where we're headed. I think Maria will tell Allie to do something to help her, and I think that'll be the point when Allie turns on Maria for realsies. And yeah, it's going to lead to it'll most likely lead to helping Gail win the title, but at least in this case, it'll also translate to a win for Allie, which is just going to get her more over. So there's a silver lining there, even though I'm not looking forward to another Gail Kim title win because I don't feel like there's anything to be gained by that at this point. Let's see. The Hardys and Decay segment was awesome. Rex and Lee was awesome. Shera and Edwards was awful. Grado standing up to Lashley was nice. Also, Matt healing Jeff was awesome, and Gail winning was awful. Okay. Immoral Jeff Hardy cameo was funny as hell. Yeah. Let's see. It was so hilarious with the baptizing segment. I was hoping they'd go a bit longer with it, where Jeff turns into different people every time, plus puts him back in the lake and then turns into Nick Jackson. Yeah, that was pretty silly. I love the Vanguard 1 segment. That was my favorite. Where Matt finds him in a tree, and he's running towards him in slow motion, like, Vanguard 1! Oh, no! He's holding him, and he drops to the ground, like, ah! It's so over the top. I just had to laugh at it. Uh, and then finding Senior Benjamin hashtag decrepit erection. I can't believe decrepit erection is a thing now. I'm putting that on the list under dilapidated boat. These these terms that are uh, just so out of left field and so bizarre, and yet I find them so fascinating right now. Uh, do you think the judges from the Grand Championship tournament should be wrestling personalities and legends like Harley Race and Bill Adapter? Bill Apter. Curse my dyslexia. No, I don't. I don't think that. I don't think that's necessary. It would be a needless expense, first of all, and it would take the focus off the wrestlers and put it on the judges. When the focus should be on the wrestlers. So no, I don't think there's any need to do that at all. Um, I think Decay are really becoming a top act at TNA. I mean, anything they do is must-see TV along with the Brokens. I don't think they're becoming a top act. I think they are a top act and have been for a while now. Let's see. TNA is getting more and more entertaining. Yeah, the Pop TV era has been really damn good, actually. They had to bring back Jeff since Bound for Glory is 2 weeks away. I was hoping Senor Benjamin would turn into Decayed Benjamin and he gets his spell broken at Bound for Glory. Well, they can have Jeff sell the shot from Janice for a week. And they can bring him back on the Go Home show. I mean, to not even have him sell it for a week? I mean, you could have at least had him look like unhealthy or in pain this week, but he's perfectly fine. If I get hit by a fucking Tetsubo, I'm going down. I'm gonna be bedridden for a good fucking long time, and that's if I'm even still alive. That's not something you can get hit by and just walk away from. It's just not. Also, the Senor Benjamin thing, that's a to be continued. I think Rosemary tweeted something about how Matt found him because they let him be found. So I think there might be a swerve coming with that. Like maybe they'll have a Senor Benjamin heel turn. Oh God! Like have a swerve where Senor Benjamin turns on the Hardys at Bound for Glory. Oh God! I still hope. I'm really hoping that they do a run-in with Vanguard 1. Like the Decay are on the offense, and then zzz, here comes Vanguard 1 to make the save during the match. They've got to do something like that. They've got to. Let's see. Also, did you get my tweets about how much Gale has buried every knockout in the past? Yeah, I got them. And present. Also, Rebel confirmed her departure from Impact, and Mustafa Lashley was nice. Yeah, Rebel's gone. Really not surprising. Kind of disappointing because I thought Rebel did have things to offer. Maybe not necessarily as a wrestler, but it's not like it's a huge loss or anything. You ever drink hot tea with lemon and honey to help with your voice? No. Suppose I should try it, huh? Wow. There's something I've noticed. My voice is better after I've eaten something. But I haven't eaten anything today. Not since last night. I was working until late, and I had a really long commute home. And I was going to eat something then, but that didn't happen. So I guess I should go eat lunch, and maybe my voice will be better afterwards. It's tough, because I have chronic allergies, and as a result, my voice gets affected by that. As you've seen in these live streams, my voice isn't always the best, and that happened a lot when I was doing the post-produced videos. How I'd usually spend up to an hour recording those things, and by the end, my voice would be kind of shot. And it used to be better, but I don't know, allergies getting worse, I guess. So it helps if I drink a lot and I eat something beforehand, but I didn't eat anything today. It's weird. Ever since I got sick, my appetite has been kind of destroyed. I have like one meal a day and like maybe a snack, and I'm good. Strange. Fans were cheering for Allie, not Gail, so this match between her and Maria is not going to be very interesting at all. Well, it's going to be pretty awkward for Gail and Maria if they're finally having that match that's been built up to for the better part of a year, and the fans are just chanting, "We want Allie, we want Allie," you know, and those two could be in for a rough night. Which is why I think they need to have Allie factor into that match heavily, like make it an integral part of the story. Otherwise, you could have the audience turning on the women who are in the match. They should save the deletion matches for big shows like Bound for Glory, Slammiversary. I disagree. We saw with Final Deletion, they got a big boost in the ratings, in viewership for that show. And that was because of Final Deletion. And if they'd done that at a pay-per-view, that wouldn't have happened. Or I don't think it would have had the effect that it did. And, like it or not, the TV deal is of paramount importance. That's prioritized over the TV show because if they lose the TV deal, they're fucked. So the TV deal is what keeps them in business. So they got to do everything to boost viewership on that show. And that means doing stuff like this on Impact. Excuse me. Now, it looks like this Final Deletion 3, the thing, the Great War, that will be at Bound for Glory, and that's good. But given their effectiveness in the past, I think for the most part, they should do these things on Impact. Because, we've got a boost in viewership, and then we've got strong audience retention against the NFL, so that they've been effective in that regard. Now I think this is going to be like the big blow-off, I'm assuming. So, doing that at Bound for Glory, okay. But for the most part, I think it was smart to do them on Impact. Chelsea, I thought, did well in the match. At least Madison put her over, unlike Jane Cena. Yeah. You know what? Credit to Madison. We know she's on the creative team now. And given that she's in a position of power, from a booking standpoint, she could probably be booking herself to be in a much more prominent position. But if anything, it's been the opposite. She has been jobbing a lot when we see her, which isn't terribly often. And she's been she's been putting over a lot of people. And, hats off to her for her professionalism. Because Gail's not doing that. And Gail's the one who really should be doing that. Because Gail's in a position to be creating a lot of new stars, and she always seems to be more interested in helping herself. And then here's Madison, the only other knockout veteran left, and she's putting over everybody. And I'm not a big Madison fan. I've never have been, and I probably never will be. But I'll give her a lot of respect for that because not many people in her position would do that. So that's very admirable. Let's see. I'm sick and tired of Gail Kim being the focus, and it's BS. Also, Gail getting over every new girl over the years, which is dumb. And Laurel Van Ness was decent. I see it being down to Galloway Rex for the finals. Yeah, probably. Maria is one of the most underrated women ever. She's very talented and very smart. If she's allowed to book the knockout stuff, it would be amazing. Yeah, maybe. I also think for people who might be good like in a booking capacity, I might put Rosemary in there at some point. She's a really creative person. I just think that might yield some interesting results. But yeah, Maria's been great. The Knockouts match was beyond predictable. All that new talent, yet Maria and Gail will be at Bound for Glory. So not only won't a new knockout get put over, but it makes the division look weak if Gail is still at the top. Well, I do expect, like I said, I do expect Allie to play a big role in that match. So I think she will get put over. I'll put it this way. I think Allie will get over. she'll get more over. I don't know if she'll be put over, but I think she'll be instrumental in Gail winning that match, which will translate to a win for Allie as well. So yeah, they'll be putting over Gail, but I think Allie is going to get something out of that too. So there's that at least. However, like I said, I don't think the title needs to be on the line. I never did. And it also means that there's nothing for the other knockouts to fight over. So you could conceivably have another knockouts match there with people like Sienna or Jade, fighting over the title. But instead, it's just Gail and Maria, and the other knockouts are just going to be presumably sitting on the bench in the back with nothing to do. And I just think that's really unfair. Because Gail is like the last person in the world who needs this spot, Let's see. Why is Jade and Sienna in a contenders match? They're both owed a title rematch. Good question. For a while it seemed like they were making it a thing that Jade had not gotten her rematch yet and she still wanted it. Of course, they haven't mentioned that lately. But with Sienna, it's like, yeah, she's contractually owed a rematch, but she has to win a number one contenders match? Why? She hasn't gotten a rematch yet. For that matter, Allie hasn't either. And if Maria is no longer the leader of the knockouts, and it's once again Dixie and or Billy who are making these decisions, why haven't Sienna or Jade or even Allie gotten their rematches? Why does it have to be a number one contenders match to get the shot at Maria? Answer: so Gail can win the match and get the shot at Maria, even though she's not owed a rematch. Stuff like this is why I've come to resent Gail Kim in recent times, because she's prioritized over everyone else, even though that has become a detriment to the rest of the division, Everybody else gets shoved into the back, even though they're owed certain things. It doesn't matter, because Gail is always first in line, regardless of whether she deserves to be or not. What if Sienna won the gauntlet, turns on Maria and takes her out? Gail Kim versus Sienna at Bound for Glory. They could do a double turn there. Well, interesting fantasy booking there, but it wouldn't happen. I would like to see Gail versus Sienna in a lengthy singles match at some point, though. I think they've had at least one singles match, but it wasn't very long, and Sienna lost, of course. And they've had like some tag matches and stuff, but Sienna hasn't been booked really appropriately and or effectively for that matter. But under optimal conditions, when the booking is on point, I would like to see a lengthy singles match between those two. Let's see. Laurel Van Ness really impressed me. Very interested in what she's going to do. Even Josh had a hard time pronouncing her name, so he was like, fuck it, let's just call her LV. Yeah, the name, it's weird. According to Chelsea, Chelsea has said that it's Van Ness. Two names, so V-A-N, last name N-E-S-S. But I think if you look at the graphic when Chelsea came out, it was V-A-N-N-E-S-S. One name. So they can't decide on what to name her. They can't decide on how to spell this fucking name. Which one is it? It just seems really careless, if I'm being honest. Since there's judges to impress, there's no feeling out, and the match starts at a high tempo. The breaks don't really bother me. They're pretty brief, and the action recovers quickly. Yeah, but you're still breaking the match up, and you're still interrupting the action, and I think that hurts it. Whether even if the match is restart very quickly, you're still interrupting the action in mid-action, and I think that's a problem they need to deal with. Despite Gail being the focus, I still can't get over how talented this group of women are, and you still have Rosemary and Rebby who were not even in the match. Yeah, they've got a good group of knockouts now. They've done a really nice job replenishing the division. I mean, it was looking really barren there for a while, but over the last like year and a half, 2 years, they've really revamped everything, and they've got a good group of girls now. I think most of them are not being booked effectively, um, but I think the talent is there. They just have to use it better. I hope this Decay Hardy's feud lasts forever. Most entertaining feud in wrestling. I would have to agree at this point. Um, I think at the very least we can expect it to last for the rest of the year, because even though Davey Richards will be ready to go in November, I believe, because of the taping schedule, they won't be able to tape anything with him until next year. So I would expect the Hardy's Decay feud to be drawn out for at least another couple of months. And I'm looking forward to it, because if it means we get more stuff like we've been getting, sign me up. Raquel looked like she's getting better. I was waiting for a botch, and she held her own. She has a great look, and I think she has potential. I think she has athleticism. I'll say that. I think she may turn out to have potential as a wrestler. I still don't trust her not to screw up. In this type of match, you can kind of cover it up, but I mean, in a longer singles match, I don't know. Um, she does seem to be improving, and that's good. Although there was this really weird part where she did something, and then she just kind of showed off, like, yeah, look at me, I'm hot shit. I just did something really cool, and I'm like, bitch, you didn't eliminate anyone, and you're like surrounded by opponents right now. It's like all the other knockouts are all over the place, and they're just kind of looking at her in the middle of the ring, going, and like, what did she think she was? What did she think was going to happen there? It's just they made her look like an idiot there. I don't know if that was the booking or if that was Raquel just doing what she wanted to do, but she looked like a dumbass. Let's see. Thoughts on the SmackDown Women's Division and Becky winning? At least that division at the moment is showcasing more of the women, more so than TNA. I wish TNA did the same. Well, I'm not watching SmackDown. I've said that many times. I watched the women's match from the pay-per-view. I'm glad that Becky won. I think her winning was the right decision. Some of those other women probably weren't ready. Nikki Bella, I didn't want Nikki Bella winning. She's got the feud with Carmella, so she didn't need the title. Plus, you really want one of the newer girls to win, because it's the new era, so you can't start out a new championship with the inaugural champion being a representative of the old era. So that rules out Nikki Bella and Natty. And Natty's got no momentum anyway. So, Becky was the logical choice. And the best choice, and I'm really glad that she won. I haven't been paying much attention to SmackDown, but from what I've heard and, what I've read on the Diva Dirt and places like that, they're doing better with their women's division than Raw is. Raw is just focused on the championship feud and like not much else. I think you got like Nia Jax doing like squash matches every week, just being really boring. But otherwise, it's the title feud and that's it. And then on SmackDown, you've got a little more going on with their women there. I will credit them for trying to do things to showcase like a variety of women on their roster. To be fair, TNA does kind of do that, except not all the women are in the knockout division. Okay, you've got the championship feud. All right, you got Gail and Maria. You've also got this Alley storyline. Now you've also got Laurel Van Ness in there now, who I'm assuming is going to be connected to the Alley storyline. Like she's gonna be the new Alley. Like after Alley turns face for realsies, we're gonna put Laurel in the Alley spot, so she's gonna be like Maria's Gal Friday or whatever it was. I think, and also separately, you've got Rosemary in Decay doing her thing, and now you've got Rosemary and Remy Hardy. So that's kind of a thing right now. So they're showcasing the other girls. I agree they could do a better job of it because Gail is still focused on way more than she needs to be at this point. But it's not like they're focusing on just one thing. Broken Hardys versus Decay has got to be Wrestling Feud of the Year. Well, it's definitely a contender. I'd like to see how it plays out a little longer before we make that assumption. I still think Mike Bennett EC3 is the feud to beat, but it's certainly it's certainly going to be a photo finish at this point. I think fans have had it with Gail. No reaction and fans chanting for Allie when Gail was facing Sienna. Yeah. Final two, Gail and Sienna. And all you're hearing is, we want Allie. Allie's better. Take a hint, TNA. Take a fucking hint. People are tired of the Gail Kim push. It is time to showcase someone else. Thoughts on the New York Post about TNA being for sale and Billy wanting the majority share of the company? I don't want to say too much here because that's on the itinerary for the Heelcast podcast tonight. So we're going to be talking about that there. So if you want my thoughts on that, tune in for the next episode of the Heelcast when that gets uploaded in the next couple of days. You can find that on tnasylum.net. And also, subscribe to their YouTube page. Just do a search, TN Asylum Heelcast, or just Heelcast, and it pops right up. I haven't read the New York Post article, but we know Billy is trying to buy the company. And I think Billy buying the company would be best case scenario. Supposedly, there's rumor. The rumor mill is aghast with rumors that it could be WWE trying to buy the company or ROH is trying to buy the company or whatever. I'm not sure what's for real right now, and I don't really speculate on that too much. Like I said before, something isn't for sure until it's for sure. All we really know for sure right now is that Billy Corgan is trying to buy the company, and I think that would be the best option if it's going to be sold to somebody. I want Billy Corgan to get it, and that's all I'm going to say for that right now. Like I said, we're going to talk about it more on the Heelcast, so tune into that show. If fans start chanting for Allie during Maria versus Gail, how awkward and funny would that be? Very awkward and very funny. I have no idea if Brandy Rhodes can wrestle or not, but damn is she beautiful. She's good looking, yeah. I don't know much about her other than that, though. But I don't think she's going to be there long term. Cody, word is Cody is signing non-exclusive deals with TNA and ROH, and I don't think he's going to be a long-term talent. I think it's going to be he's got a list of people that he wants to wrestle before he hangs up his boots. Mike Bennett was on that list, so I figure he'll come in, he'll do a program with Mike Bennett that'll conclude maybe around Genesis or Lockdown or something like that, and then him and his wife will move on. Now, unless he's really enjoying himself, maybe he'll stick around. I don't know, but I think that'll be the situation. And I just lost my place again. Where the hell am I? I gotta speed this up. Come on. Holy shit, there's a lot of questions here. Oh, wow. All right, I gotta speed this up because I gotta wrap this up. I got a phone call to make, and then I gotta go eat something before this podcast starts. Are you looking forward to Shield and the Ghost Rider angle? Yeah. Hell yeah. So yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is back this Tuesday. So we got the comic show post show coming back. I'm assuming that'll still be on Thursday. Yeah, I'm really excited. Gonna be a fun night Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, new time. Let's. Thoughts on Backlash? I didn't watch Backlash. I watched the women's match and that's it. Um, I thought the women's match was good. I liked it. Um, Gail should win at Bound for Glory, become the leader of the Knockouts, give up the championship, and let the other girls have a tournament for a new champion. Uh, I disagree. Gail being the leader of the Knockouts would not play to Gail's strengths. She's not much of a talker. She's never been much of a talker, and that's a role in which somebody, the leader needs to have, good promo skills, good character skills, as Maria has proven. That's not what Gail excels at. It's just not. Gail's a wrestler. She's not a character. So that just wouldn't be the spot to put her in. Uh, your thoughts on AJ Styles winning the WWE World Championship? I'm happy for him. You know, I haven't put a lot of thought into it, but yeah, I'm happy AJ's having a lot of success. No one deserves it more. Check out the explosion match with Madison Rayne and Allie. Already did. Allie was very entertaining. Um, Braxton versus Spud was awesome. I thought. Besides Owens versus Reigns, Marty versus Killshot at Lucha Underground, I thought it was the best match all week. Felt like an actual fight. Wish there was no commentary. Yeah, the commentary didn't help. I think so far, in the past we've seen these empty arena matches have always had no commentary. I don't know why they had commentary in this one. It didn't help. It took away from the feel that this is something different. I think the point of doing these matches is because they're different, and they didn't. I don't think they had the right idea with that. Um, another rumor about WWE buying TNA. Do you see Impact thriving on the network if it indeed happens? Well, I don't believe it's going to happen. First of all, do I see Impact thriving on the network? No, I don't. If it were to happen, which I don't think it will, but if it were to happen, I think they just buy the tape library and make a lot of DVDs about that, and they dump a lot of their own talent onto TNA, and they'd completely ruin the show, and it would just be like the worst thing that could possibly happen because WWE having a monopoly on the business is not going to be good for anybody. But like I said, I don't believe it's going to happen. Thoughts on TJP winning the Cruiserweight Classic? I don't really have any. I'm not watching the Cruiserweight Classic. Uh, Empty arena match with the Motor City Machine Guns and the Young Bucks was better. Yeah, I think that was that's the benchmark for these empty arena things. That was the best one that I've seen anyway. Sucks that Jade was the first to get eliminated, but then again, Gail was going to win anyway, so at least Gail didn't eliminate Jade. Yeah, that pissed me off. How do you eliminate Jade first? What the fuck was that about? Who the hell booked that? Um. Uh. I think the Grand Championship is tailor made for Lashley. It's time to take the world title off him and have new guys in the main event. Oh, wow. I disagree. I think honestly, Lashley's title reign has been so good that if they want to have him go over at Bound for Glory and keep a title for a while longer, I'm fine with it. I can't make a compelling argument for him not to win. I mean, I'll be happy if EC3 wins, but Lashley has got so much momentum right now and has been so good as the champion. Like, why not keep that going? Um, Thoughts on Brandy Rhodes coming to TNA? I don't really have any because I don't know what kind of talent she is beyond being Cody's wife. Can she wrestle? I don't know. Is she any good? Beats me. Really, all I know about her is what she looks like. Uh, where is this the Fixer Tyrus thing going? I thought he was going to have an APA gimmick. Why aren't they using it? Where is it going? I kind of doubt if it's going anywhere. Uh, Seemed like they were going somewhere with it, and then they just stopped appearing on the show. You're still getting the vignettes, but they're not doing anything with them, and I kind of think it's not a big priority for them, and it probably shouldn't be because it's Tyrus and he sucks. Credit to Allie, she's super over with the fans, and down the line, a feud with Rosemary would be awesome. That's what I want to see. But I don't want to see it until the time is right. You know, you want Allie to be developed into a character that knows how to wrestle, and which allows her to wrestle to her full cherry bomb potential. And once that happens, then do it. Because I don't want them to do it half-assed. Because I've said this many times, Courtney Rush and Cherry Bomb is the best feud in women's wrestling on the indies right now. In the whole business, that's the best women's feud. I want to see that translate to TV, but if they do it, they got to do it right. And right now, the characters aren't positioned properly for them to do it right. So once that happens, then by all means, do it. What do you think about the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. previews and clips that have been shown so far? Well, they haven't really shown much, which is questionable. Most of the promotion has been about Ghost Rider, which makes sense. You know, when they announced that Ghost Rider was going to be a part of this season, you know, Ghost Rider was trending across the U.S. So that makes sense. That's, you know, if there's any new viewers tuning in to this season this Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, they're going to be tuning in for Ghost Rider. So it makes sense to highlight him in the advertising. I would like to know a little bit more about what the other characters are doing. But I understand why they're going this way. Like I said, they haven't shown much. We haven't seen the Ada character at all, which I was really curious about her. So, you know, hopefully we'll see her in the premiere. I'm excited, dude. I can't wait to see how they do Ghost Rider on TV. That's one of those characters that I never thought we'd see in a TV show. It's like, how do you do that on a show, on a TV budget? How do you do it? Well, they figured it out, and they're going to do it, and I'm really curious. So I can't wait to see this. It was revealed by Billy Corgan that Dixie is 70% majority owner, while the other 30% shareholders in TNA are split between Billy, Aerolux, and Canada Fight Network that airs TNA programming. Was it? Haven't heard about that. Okay, well, tune into the Heelcast. Soon we'll talk about that. Hate to say it, but Maria versus Gail will be a bathroom break for a lot of fans. Nobody cares about this feud. It's gone on way too long. All it did was stunt the growth of the other knockouts. I don't disagree. I think it has been built up incredibly well in the sense that it doesn't feel stale. I mean, they built up a lot of heat between these two characters and barely had them touch at all. In this day and age, that's really hard to do and do it well. I do think it's kind of overstayed its welcome at this point because I think it was supposed to climax at Slammiversary, but then Maria got injured and they couldn't do it. And now it's kind of been usurped by the Alley thing. So, you know, ideally I would have liked the match to happen sooner so they could shift the focus to somebody else. Um, so I don't think the match is going to be as welcome as it used to be. Um, because now it kind of feels like a foregone conclusion that it's just going to be a massacre and Gail's going to destroy her and win the title and that'll be it. I feel like there was more intrigue when they were doing it at Slammiversary. Um, but yeah, I'm watching that match mainly to see what Allie does. Don't really care about Gail versus Maria at this point, but Allie, she's there, and that's going to be that's enough to interest me. SmackDown and TNA's ratings went up while Raw's went down. Yeah, Raw got obliterated by football. 1.88. No, that's bad. Let's not mince words. That is bad. Also, Billy said that all shareholders, including Dixie, agreed on the price to sell all their shares in the company to Billy Corgan, and he hopes and is collecting up money to buy them out of their shares. Okay, good. Again, tune into the Heelcast. That's one of the things we're going to be talking about. Why is Sienna not mad that Maria has her Knockouts title? Because if she was, that would mean that they would be focusing on something other than Gail Kim going for the title. And like I said, Gail Kim going for the title is the only thing the writers care about, where the championship is concerned. So I don't think Sienna's title rematch is going to be a thing. Or if it is, it won't become a thing until after Gail wins it and needs a title challenger. I agree, it's stupid. I don't like it, but that's what they're doing because it's Gail Kim and she gets whatever she wants. Gail is not as interesting of a character like Rosemary, nor is she popular with fans like Allie, and Jade is just as good in the ring, yet she is the focus. You're not wrong about a lot of that. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to skip over a lot of this stuff because I gotta go. Alright, I've done a lot of the Alley stuff. A lot of this is just stuff I've gone over already. Sorry if I skip over your question or your comment here. It means that I've already answered something similar, and I've really got to wrap this up. Should Gail be a trainer for the new Knockouts backstage after her Hall of Fame induction at Bound for Glory, or would you rather see her as the new leader of the Knockouts? No, I think she'd be a great trainer. The question is that something she's interested in doing? She said that after she retires, she wants to just move on from wrestling and do something else, so I don't know if that's what she wants to do. I think she would make a great trainer. I mean, who better? Who better to put in that spot? But no, I don't want her as leader of the Knockouts. That's not the right place to put Gail. When Gail wins, then what? Will it be her actually putting over new talent, or her going through the division like she did for the last several years? I'd like to think it'll be different this time, but if history is any indication, we're in for another lengthy Gail Kim title reign. That'll probably end up like all her title reigns do. It's just her beating the challenger of the month over and over and over again, and that's just how her championship reigns usually go. There's not a lot of variety there. They just all kind of end up the same way. Maybe it'll be. I'm holding on to a sliver of hope that it'll be different this time, just because there's different dynamics at play here. Maria may go back to being the leader of the Knockouts after she loses the title because there's no longer a conflict of interest there, so that may shake things up. Also, the writers can't ignore how over Allie is getting. They just can't. So we'll see. I'm not incredibly optimistic that it'll turn out different this time, but who knows? Madison that got eliminated first in the gauntlet. Was it? I'd have to watch it again. I really doubt TNA knew Allie would be this over. They thought feeding the division to Gale would somehow make fans cheer Gale, when all it's done is make fans not care about Gale. I think they were hoping Allie would get over. That's clearly been their intention. They wanted to turn her face. I don't think they expected her to get this over this quickly. But I don't think they're complaining about the results they're getting here. It's obviously this turn of Allie has worked out better than I'm sure they hoped it would. Seems like the only people excited for Maria versus Gale are Gail, Kim, Marks, who don't give a rat's ass about the knockout division. Anyway. Will the Tina Heelcast show you guys doing it be a live stream on YouTube like your show, or will it be pre-recorded and then uploaded to YouTube? It'll be pre-recorded because there's editing that goes into that show. So we'll record it and then it'll be edited and then uploaded like a couple days later. Why don't you watch SmackDown? I just don't have much of a desire to. It's the B show. It's always been the B show, and nothing of a lot of relevance really happens there. I do sometimes check out the women's stuff, but I don't have much of a desire to watch it because I know all the really important things are going to happen on Raw. That's how it's always been, and it seems like maybe they're making an effort to change that, but I'm not terribly optimistic about how effective it's going to be. Impact Grand Championship, do you think that'll open the door for intergender matches, being that Sienna is a trained MMA fighter prior to signing with Impact? I've gone on record saying I would like to see them experiment with more intergender stuff. I don't think this will be the one to do it. I don't see what I don't see how the two relate to each other. I guess there is something to be said for like experimenting with like the MMA stuff with the knockout division. I wouldn't want to see them do something like this, but no, I don't really see a connection there. Do you think SmackDown will beat Raw in the ratings? I doubt it. It could happen. As I understand it, SmackDown has been getting better viewership since they went live on Tuesday. But will it get better viewership than Raw? That'll be an uphill climb. Raw has always been treated like the A show. It's marketed as the flagship show, and so the viewers are going to perceive it that way. And last question: are you excited for Luke Cage? Not really. Well, I shouldn't say that. Yes and no. I think. I'm interested, but not as interested as I am in the other Netflix shows, just because I don't have any real affinity for the Luke Cage character. I liked him in Bendis' New Avengers, that's about it. Not that he's a bad character or anything, I don't hate him, he never really interested me that much. Mainly because I just thought his powers were boring, I guess. It's like, oh, he's another super strong guy. Well, there's tons of those, Of course, I admit I'm not really in the demographic that the character is probably intended to be marketed to, so other people feel differently, and that's cool, I haven't been overwhelmed by the trailers. It seems like a lot of it is just Luke destroying dudes, and I've said this before, like, how do you get the audience to fear for his safety? How do you generate tension and how do you ratchet up like the pressure and the tension and stuff if you have a protagonist who can't be hurt? If he's indestructible, well, how do you make the audience fear for his safety? How do you get the people on the edge of your seat wondering, oh, is he going to make it? Is he going to be able to beat this guy? Well, all we've seen is him mowing down dudes like a fucking steamroller. He's plowing through it at dudes everywhere, so obviously he's going to make it, and he's going to do it, probably going to do it very easily. And I don't think that's nearly as compelling as what we've seen in like Daredevil when he has to work his ass off to beat these guys. And yeah, he wins in the end, but he pays a price for it, and he gets fucked up. And there's always that fear that he might not make it, that he might not win this fight, and if he does, he could get seriously injured. So with Daredevil, there's tension there, and that leads to that breeds excitement, and that's something that I haven't felt watching these Luke Cage promos. Hoping the show will be different. Also, we've got the villain Cottonmouth, I guess. I'm not familiar with the character from the comics. Does he have any powers? Because if he doesn't have any powers, it kind of seems like he's just going to be a low-rent kingpin. I say that knowing nothing about what they're doing with him. All I know is what I've seen in the trailer. If he's just another gangster, that doesn't seem very interesting to me. Because we've already seen Kingpin in Daredevil, and he's like the gangster, like the number one criminal in the Marvel Universe. And if you're just doing another like mobster guy, obviously it's going to be a step down from Kingpin. So we've got an indestructible protagonist versus a guy who's going to be like a B-grade version of something we've already seen done a lot better. And this is just first impressions from the trailers. I'm hoping that the show will, do something different. I'll give it a shot. I'll watch it. I'm just not expecting a whole lot, and I'm kind of honestly I'm more excited about Iron Fist right now. All right, Luke Cage has human organs, so if those get compromised, it's interesting to see how he gets better. He can be drowned, he can be suffocated, he just has a hard shell. Well, yeah, okay, he has human organs, but you got to get through the skin to do it, to get to those, and the skin is unbreakable. So how do you get to him? I guess you could poison him. Or drowned, okay. But we haven't seen that so far. We've seen people punching him and breaking their fist on his face, or shooting him and watching the bullets bounce off. And once the novelty of that wears off, you have to move on and do something that can actually put this guy in legitimate danger in order to generate any tension there. That's the issue that I have with it. And that's going to be it. I got to go. I got a phone call to make, and I got to get something to eat and rest my voice before the podcast tonight. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Comic Show post-show is going to be back, I believe, this Thursday night. I'm thinking about 10:15 because Impact goes from 8 to 10. So I need like a 15-minute buffer zone to get ready for that. We're going to be talking the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season premiere. So tune in for that. Again, 10:15. Also, watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season premiere. Season 4 begins this Tuesday, 10 p.m. It's on at a new time now, 10 p.m. Eastern. Watch it, and we'll talk about it on Thursday. Also, I will be back with the next Impact stream, hopefully next Saturday. I don't know. I may have to work. If not, if I do, we'll push it to Sunday. If I have to work Sunday, I'll push it to Monday again. But there will be an update on that if I have to change days on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. I'm at TheRealFK9. All the updates go on there. And I will see you guys this Thursday. Also, subscribe to the Heelcast. It's a good show. I'm going to be on the next episode. We're recording that tonight. So listen to that. Just do a search for Heelcast and it pops right up. Subscribe to those guys. It's a good show. They're buddies of mine, so help them get more subscribers and get their channel out there. And I'll talk to you on Thursday. Bye.